LeeElise from 96 Creative, and I'm bringing you another Pokemon TCG Online game. And I'm going to jump right into the deck overview. We're going to be playing a Crobat and Shaman deck. So I'm going to get right into it, and we're going to be playing two Shaman EXs, and this is from the new Roaring Skies set. And we want it for one, its ability setup. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. So this is really good to keep drawing cards into your hand and going through your deck, as well as its attack, which is Sky Return. So for 2 colorless energy, you return this Pokemon and all cards attached to it to your hand. It does 30 damage, and if you throw a Muscle Band on there, it will be doing 50 damage. So this is really good, of course, because if Shaman is close to being knocked out, has damage counters on it, you just use Sky Return, and you bring the Pokemon back to your hand, and all the damage goes away. Really annoying for the opponent, but really good for you. So again, we'll be running 2 of those. 2 execute, and this is pretty much for the ability Propagation. Once during your turn before your attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put this Pokemon into your hand. So this is really good. We're running a lot of Ultra Balls, so if we have these guys in our discard pile and we just want to bring them back, get rid of them to bring out another Pokemon without having to discard any of our cards in our hands, this is what we'll use. We're going to also be using Mew EX. We're going to be running 4 of these for the ability Versatile. This is, of course, we could be using this for a Sky Return. So again, 30 damage, Muscle Band 50 damage, and we bring this Pokemon back into our hand. So again, if there's damage on this Pokemon or it's close to being knocked out, we can bring this Pokemon back to our hand and there's no more damage on it. We can also use this for Crobat's attack, which is Skill Dive. Put 30 damage counters onto one of your opponent's Pokemon. So that is what we're going to be using Mew EX for. And then we have the line of bats. We're going to be running 4 Zubats. This is the basic Pokemon. 4 Golbats. This is for Sneaky Bite. So when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is pretty much what we're going to be wanting to use Golbat to keep putting him down and adding those 2 damage counters to any of our opponent's Pokemon. And then we're going to be using Crobat. So instead of putting 2 damage counters onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, you'll be putting 3. So these damage counters keep adding up and we'll be getting more and more knockouts. Now, those are our Pokemon, and now we're going to get into the trainer cards. So we're going to be running 2 Acrobikes. So you look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand and discard the other one. So again, another easy trainer to go through your deck a little bit faster to get any cards that you might need. 1 Repeat Ball, so we can get out another Zubat, Crobat, Shaman, whatever we need. 2 Robo Substitute. Now this is pretty much just to buy some time if we need to. If we don't have a Shaman or a Mew EX on hand, we can throw this down. It's pretty easy, pretty good, and our opponent doesn't get a prize card for when Robo Substitute is knocked out. We're going to be running 2 Roller Skates, so flip a coin. If heads, draw 3 cards. 4 Super Scoop Up. So this is really important. We're going to be wanting to play this in order to scoop up our Crobats, possibly a Shaman. Crobats, so we can keep laying them down and keep putting on the damage counters. Scoop up a Shaman if we need to draw some more cards on our turn without having to use a supporter card. We're going to also be running 3 Trainer's Mail. So this is actually a really good card that came out with the Roaring Skies. So you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, you may reveal a trainer card you find there, except for Trainer's Mail, and put it into your hand and shuffle the other cards back into your deck. So this is really good to go through to find maybe a supporter you need or a Muscle Band. Again, 4 Ultra Balls, and hopefully we can use propagation for this so we don't have to discard any of our cards in our hand. 3 VS Seeker just to get back any supporter cards we need. 2 AZs, and this is to put one of your Pokemon into your hand and discard all the cards attached to that Pokemon. So this is the same idea as Super Scoop Up. If we want to keep laying down the Crobats and getting them back, we'll use AZ. 2 Chorus, 1 Lysander, a Lysander trump card which has a ginormous X in the middle of it. They just banned this card from the online TCG. So I did record this game when the card was not banned, but it seems it's banned now and you won't be able to play it in standard, unlimited, or even expanded online. So you're going to have to replace this card with something else. Perhaps if you're worried about your Pokemon going into the discard pile, maybe Revive or a Sacred Ash, another Muscle Band or something. I don't think this deck relies too heavily on the Lysander trump card, as long as you just keep watching your deck to make sure you don't deck out. And I mean, we're only running 2 Shamans, so you're not going through your deck too quickly. 4 Professor Sycamores, which is pretty normal, and 2 Dimension Valley. Again, this is good for Mew EX. You can just put 1 energy to use with him, or even Crobat and not need an energy to attack. And we have 3 Muscle Bands here, again to make that 30 damage into 50 damage for Sky Return. And then we're going to be running 4 Double Colorless Energy. Again, this is just for Sky Return and Mew EX. Load that on, can attack in 1 turn. And 2 Rainbow Energy, just to have that in our hand. So this is the whole deck, and you're going to see it in a game. Alright guys, so we're going to jump into this game. And it looks like my opponent has a Psychic deck. And I will get to go first. I have no Pokemon in my hand, and neither does my opponent. So I'm going to promote the Zubat that I have, and I have another Zubat to put onto the bench. Not sure what my opponent is going to promote yet. So to put that Zubat on the bench, and it looks like my opponent has a Nidoran. So I have a pretty good hand so far. Attach a Muscle Band to Zubat, and I'm going to Ultra Ball for a Shaman EX to draw 6 cards into my hand without having to use a supporter card. I'm going to load up Shaman EX now that I can. Got the Double Colorless Energy and the Muscle Band. Still haven't used a supporter card yet, so I'll be able to draw more cards. And I'm thinking of using the Ultra Ball, discard the AZ and the energy, and I'm just going to grab a Mew EX. Sycamore Wavy Hand. Use the Acro Bike, and could grab the energy, but I don't really need it. I do have a Trainer's Mail, but I'm just going to go for the Trainer's Mail anyways. And before I end my turn, I'm just going to promote the Robo Substitute, so if my opponent attacks, I won't get hurt. Not too sure what my opponent has yet. Not sure if he knows what he has. He does attach a float stone to his Pokemon and plays an N, which is okay for me. I get a fresh 6 cards into my hand again. My opponent puts down a Sigilyph and another Nidoran onto his bench, and he retreats and promotes Sigilyph. And with Sigilyph's ability, Safeguard, I won't be able to attack and hurt him with any of my EX Pokemon. So I'm gonna grab another Zubat to get him set up. And I don't want to Sycamore away my hand, so I'm gonna Trainer's Mail, find Chorus, and I'm just gonna play a Chorus. I'll be able to put 2 damage counters onto Sigilyph. Since I can't attack him with my EX Pokemon, I might as well put it on him. Load up Mew EX. I have a Dimension Valley that I can put up. So I'll be able to use Golbat's attack and just swoop across and do 10 damage to each of his Pokemon. And I have a Muscle Band on there, so it does 30 damage to Sigilyph. So he's pretty much almost knocked out. And we do see a Gengar EX onto my opponent's bench. He puts down a Silent Lab, which shuts off any ability for basic Pokemon. He has a Float Stone attached to Sigilyph, and he does play another N. He's able to evolve into Nidoqueen with that rare candy. And he does 30 damage, and I'm poisoned. And another 30 damage, so Golbat is knocked out. I'm going to put up Mew EX because Nidoqueen is weak against psychic types. Let's see what's in the discard pile. Gonna Ultra Ball or that Execute. And the Trump card. And I'm gonna grab a Golbat. So I'll be able to put 2 damage counters onto Sigilyph. And that's our first prize card that we get. Put down Mew EX and I'll Chorus. I have another Golbat that I'll be able to use. Put that onto the Nidoqueen. I'm gonna have to grab the Super Scoop up. I did forget about the Silent Lab that is up there, preventing Mew to use his versatile ability. So luckily I do get heads on that. Put up Shaman EX. And I might as well load up Mew and hopefully I'll get a Dimension Valley next turn. And I'll use the Sky Return and promote Robo Substitute. So Nidoqueen has 80 damage. I did forget about that Silent Lab. It's only on basic Pokemon luckily, so I can still use my Golbats and Crobats, but I can't use Mew's ability. So not too much going on my opponent's end. Professor Juniper. He does Mega Evolve Gengar and attaches a Psychic Energy onto him. And my Robo is knocked out. So I'll just put up the Golbat. He'll be poisoned, but I can do a free retreat. But first I'm going to evolve him to Crobat and put that damage onto Nidoqueen. And there's the knockout for second prize card. My opponent will have to promote another Pokemon as his active Pokemon. So Mega Gengar, I believe, you get to choose one of your opponent's Pokemon's attack and use it for 3 energy. And he does promote the Mega Gengar. So many cards to choose from. Roller Skates. Don't have a Dimension Valley yet. I'm going to AZ Crobat using my supporter card. Put back Zubat on the bench. And I've got 10 cards left in my deck. So again, with the ban that is going on of Lysander's trump cards, you just have to watch your deck to make sure you don't deck out. You will not be able to put up a trump card in your deck. I'm just gonna grab the chorus instead. Try not to use the trump card that has been banned. So I'm going to do 50 damage to the Mega Gengar, and it will be my opponent's turn. Now the only attack he can really use of my Pokemon with Mega Gengar is Skill Dive. or replace or Zubat's small attack, but nothing that does a lot of damage. So I should survive this turn. I do get poison with that laser. Plays an Evil Soda, probably gonna evolve into Needle Queen. And he does go for the skill dive, doing 30 damage to my Zubat. I'll put 2 damage counters onto him by evolving into Golbat. This is one of those moments when you realize you have so many options and so many cards in your hand. So I'm just going to stick with Crobat and knock out that Nidoran and get that prize card. I'm not too worried about Mega Gengar, since he won't be able to do a huge amount of damage to me, and Crobat should be able to survive another turn. My opponent is still deciding who he should promote, but he does go with the Mega Gengar. And he's able to evolve into Nidoqueen. It does have the ancient trait to attack twice in a turn, which can be really annoying. I don't want to play, or I haven't really wanted to play any of my Shaman EX down onto the bench yet, because I don't want him to be able to use that move to pick up Mega Gengar and lose all that damage counters on him. That would not benefit me whatsoever. And it looks like he will be able to knock out my Crobat with his Nidoqueen. Which I'm okay with. Evolve into Crobat and put the 30 damage counter onto Nidoqueen. I'll be able to finally remove the dimension, or the silent lab that's been up there with my Dimension Valley. It will actually benefit him too, because his Pokemon are also psychic. Try and super scoop up that Crobat so I can lay back down the Zubat. Now that Nidoqueen still has 100 damage to go, but the weakness is Psychic, so I will be able to knock it out. And I do promote Shaman EX because the only attack he could use is Sky Return and pretty much commit suicide. So he has no attacks to choose from. Unless he puts down another Pokemon. He does put up Silent Lab, probably to prevent another Shaman or Mew EX. And he opted to go for an attack, and the only attack he could use is Sky Return, making him put his Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into his hand, and he's got no other Pokemon on his bench. So I guess he decided to commit suicide. And that will be victory for us. Overall, I really enjoy this deck and using it. You don't get a lot of damage or one-hit knockouts, but those Crobats make it easy to keep piling on the damage counters and spreading the damage out through all of your opponent's Pokemon to getting knockouts. So overall, I really enjoy this deck. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this Lysandre trump card being banned. Are you for it, against it? How are you guys going to adjust your decks for it? Let me know. Leave a comment below. And don't forget to check out the links below in the description. And I'll be posting another video soon.